Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a pretty cool looking puzzle here. Now, I read on the original posting of this that this was, oh, it says it right here actually. This Sudoku is my tip of the cat to basketball. I've never been a big fan of basketball. I used to kind of play it a little bit when I was younger, but anyway, that's completely here nor there or relevant to anything. But it seemed like a good looking puzzle, so I figured I wanted to get into this one and take a look at it. As usual, the description or the link to this will be in the description below if you want to join along. But let's take a look at this thing and see if we can. Well, first off, let's take a look at the rules and see if we can then figure out what's going on. So we have, it's called Half Court Set by Tingo. And like I said, for the Sudoku is my tip of the cap to basketball. The rules. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply, so every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Cells joined by a white dot. Defenders have consecutive values, so it's like Kropki dots, so these two digits just have to be consecutive, same with these, etc., etc. Cells joined by X's. Offensive players, sum to 10, so these two digits here must just add up to 10. Not all dots or X's are given, okay, so there's no negative constraint here. Adjacent digits along the green line, the lane, must differ in value by at least 5, so that's German whispers. So whatever this digit is, this must be 5 away from it, this must be 5 away from that last one, etc., down the line. Digits along thermometers, the paths of the offensive players during the play must strictly increase from the bulb end. So you look at this thermo, this is the lowest of the digits of the thermo, and then it increases, well, because this is the bulb, and it increases until it gets to the tip, and the tip is the highest digit. And what else? We've got a couple more numbers outside the puzzle. The game's score, 55 to 39, which are called little killer clues typically, indicate the sum of the digits along the marked diagonal. So this 39 clue here is pointing along this diagonal. So these digits, when added together, must equal 39. Same with the 55. These are the ones it's pointing to, so all of those added together are 55. And the digit in the gray circle, i.e. the hoop, is odd. So this digit is odd. And that's it. There's quite a few rules here, but it all seems to look quite nice in terms of movement on a basketball court, or at least half of the court. Those are the rules. So let's say we jump into this one and see if we can get it figured out. Now, the question is going to be, where the heck do we start? And I had a couple of thoughts. I don't know that we can do much with this 39 just yet. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of reduced in terms of what can go in here. Because clearly the highest you can ever put in these two would be 9 and 8, which is 17. You could put 9 and 8 here, which is 34. And this leaves us as like a minimum of 5. So there is a bit of, well, clearly this can't be 5 because you can't put a 5 on a German whisper. So there is a little bit of a constraint there. I'm wondering if that is a good place to start. Because we know this has to at least be 6 then. And the phone, of course, is going to go off. Let me put that on vibrate so it doesn't bother us while we're doing this. We know this has to therefore be a minimum of 6. So let's put that in. Well, it can't be a 6 either because we can't put a 1 on both sides of this thing because it's on a German whisper, and the German whisper, obviously, you have to be 5 away from it. So if you put a 6 anywhere along a midpoint of a German whisper that sees itself the entire way along, the 6 would require 2 1s, and they would be breaking the rules. So we end up having, well, maybe this is a good place to at least get our foothold in here. So these then would have to be 9, 8, 7, 6 as possibilities, which means this is a low digit because it's on the X clue. Now, the problem with that being a low digit is it doesn't affect this thermo pretty much at all. Now, this 55, I mean, I think there's probably way too much doing on that to really get into it. So I thought this thermo here would be my other place I wanted to look. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. Excuse me. So this one, this is from 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which means this would have to be from 6, 7, 8, or 9, because again, it's on a 10 clue. And again, this can't be a 6, so this can't be a 4. Now, the other thing we can look at in here, and I'm going to refrain from just completely marking these up at the moment, I will get to it at some point, I'm sure, is that we know that these digits are highs on our German whisper. So therefore, every other digit along the German whisper must also be high. So all of these are high. I'm going to mark them in orange. I always put them in orange because orange seems to be associated with heat in my mind. And then everything else must be a low digit, which I put as cool blue. And that is because on German whispers, of course, you always go back and forth between highs and lows. So you have this parity between the two. So if this is, whatever this digit is, this must go 5 away from it. So it must pass over the 5 threshold into the other section. So that's just kind of the basics of that. Now, this being high does not necessarily, well, actually it kind of does. I was thinking because of this X clue, it does actually mean that this one also has to be high, but I guess we can put those in like that. And that's going to push these down to being low. This might just be a coloring exercise here, because we know now, at least in this group, and it might be something similar over here, I haven't looked over there yet, that we have all of the high digits already placed out. And I have to stop myself again to make sure I've made correct determinations. Yeah, because this one was determined by our 39. Okay, so that was the catalyst for starting on our high. I worried myself as to why I even thought that was the high again. And then, of course, if these are high, then the German whispers are all high, and then this has to maintain a high because you can't put a 5 to transition over onto an X clue. Okay, so we know one of these is a 5, and we therefore actually know it has to be this digit. Why is that? Because we only have a 5 and a low left. We have 3 lows, we have all of our highs. So if I were to put a 5 here, I'd have to put another high here, and we can't do that. So this has to be 5, and this has to be low. Okay, so that region is kind of sussed out in terms of what is what. Now looking back on here, this row, we've already got all of our highs. So we know there must be a 5 in here, and we know the other digits are low. Now, I don't know that we can ever put a low digit on this 39. Is it possible? Let's think about it. The highest we can never do is 9 and 8, which is 17. Then we can add 2 more 9s, which is another 18, which will get us up to 35. And yeah, this would have to, well, no, it could get up to a 4. That is possible, I guess. But no, it can't be a 4 because this is an odd digit. So this, let's make sure my math was right. 17, 26, 35. This has to at least be 4, and it can't be 4. Yes, this is a 5. Okay. That's kind of fun how that worked out, and these are low digits. Now, if this is a 5, did we just prove that these are all high digits? I think we did. Because again, the highest we can do is 17, 26, and 35. Now, this can't be 35, clearly, so it can't be 9899. That doesn't work. One of these has to be a lower digit, but we know that they're all high digits. This is a high. This is a low. This can't be a 5, but we can't say if that's another low or it's another high at the moment, unless we come over here to this guy and we can say otherwise. Well, we can't really. But we do know this isn't 5 and none of these are, so one of these is a 5. It could be either one still. And we do still have the possibility that this could be a 5 with a 6 on it, and the 6 would be the final high, and this would have to be a low. 6. This is a minimum of 6. In fact, it actually can't be 6, though, because we just determined that this is a 5. Because if this is a 6, this would have to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this has to be higher than 6. This has to be a high. I'll put the 7, 8, 9 because there is a particular restraint on what that number can be. Okay, we can't, again, quite... Well, we know this. Let's continue with things that we can do that are sitting there and I just didn't notice. This has to be a low digit because this is a high digit. So we have all of our low digits. We need one more high digit and we need a 5, but there's a 5 here. So this is our 5 and this is our high. Now again, we have all of our high digits and we have our 5. So these must all be low. Okay. Seems to be moving along fairly well. Now we don't quite know if this is low, that this has to be high. It could very well be another low. We know it can't be 5, though. Well, no, we know this has to be low because this is 5. Because we can't cross a border from a low to a high without using a stopgap of a 5. So this has to be a low digit. What else do we have out here that we can then work with? There has to be a 5 in one of these, but we cannot remove this as a possibility because it could be 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. And I don't see a reason why that would break. Yeah, okay. And so where's our next little dive into here? Doing a little bit of scanning. So none of these are 5, so there has to be a 5 here. Could have also just looked at this, you know. This is not 5. It's either high or low, but we don't know which one it is. Okay, that's what we had determined previously. Okay, let me look around and see. Is there any other clues I've missed? I don't think this can be a 7, though, right? Because when we talked about this 39 clue, we said we only had 1 degree of freedom. So if this was a 7, that would be a 2-degree break from the 9. Yeah, that's correct. This can't be a 7. I just had to do the math in my head again. So we can get rid of our 6 here. We can get rid of our 4 here. Okay. And let's look at this for a second. The problem is this 6 doesn't cause much trouble. We can rule it out from, let's say, these. Well, we can't rule it out from here because these could both be 1s. We do know that neither one of these can be a 6, though. So this is a 6. Okay, let's put that in there. I hadn't focused on our German whispers quite enough there, apparently. So maybe we do need to kind of go back and forth in terms of our coloring and where our digits may lie, because they may be helping us out here. 1, 2, 3. This one, I can't reduce it from what a 9, or where a 4 could go. But what I can do is say this can't be a 4. So one of these two must be a 4. Therefore, this one has to be 9, and this has to be 1. And therefore, these are not 9s. This digit must sit between a 7 and an 8. So the only 2 digits that can sit next to a 7 on a German whisper are 1 and 2. 1 can't happen, so this has to be a 2. Which means this then has to be a 3. So yeah, we did have to start looking at actual numbers and kind of pull the veil back from what we were doing with our coloring. So now we get an 8-9 pair here because this couldn't be 3, it can only be 1 and 2, so therefore 8 and 9 must pair with it, so these can't be 8 and 9. So they are a 6-7 pair, which means this has to be from either 4. This is, okay, I kind of lost the fact that that was a bulb there with it highlighted. This is either a 3 or a 4. It cannot be a 4, because if this is a 4, this has to be a 4.5. So this is a 3. This is a 7. We get a 3 in the corner, and I get a little deet doot. This has to be the 4. This has to be a 1 now, because it's next to a 6. This therefore has to be a 2. This has to be an 8, and this has to be a 9. So that worked out quite well. Now we can look at these and make some slight determinations. We have to have 4, 7, and 8, and this can't be 4. So we're forcing a 4 up here. We've got a 7, 8 pair looking over here, but this could either be 6 or 9 still. Now, if this is a 2, this has to be a low digit. And it has to be, well, no, it does not. That was just a completely wrong way to look at it. It could still clearly be a high digit. It doesn't have to have consecutiveness. That's where I was getting mixed up with my rules there for a second again. Now, these two guys have to be 8 and 9. So this has to be 1 or 2. This guy cannot be a 6, so it must be a 7. Therefore, these must be 1 and 2, and we have a 2 here. So this is our 1, and this is our 2. We can't rule this one out still because of the fact that it could, well, no, it can't be a 6. We got a 6 looking at it. I was going to say it could have 1s on both sides, but let's look at the obviousness of his. This can't be a 6, and it can't be a 7, so it's an 8 or a 9. So we have an 8-9 pair. There has to be a 6 somewhere up in here. And we can't rule any of those out, I don't believe. So where can we look next? What was left over here? We need to have 1, 2, and 4, and there has to be a 4 in one of these. There's nothing really doing there. This 39 clue, and I haven't looked at this 55 clue yet, and we might have to get to it in a second. The 39 clue still hasn't really had much that we can do with it, because we just put the highest digit possible here. Oh, but I guess we can say this cannot be a 6, didn't we? Because again, it can only have a difference of 1. And if I put a 6 here, that'd be a difference of at least 2. So this must be a 9 to maintain our 39 possibility. So right now we're at 18 plus 5, which is 23. So we've got 16 left. Let's put those options in. Now this cannot be a 9, clearly. This one could still be either way. Now, can this ever be a 7, though? I think we could have ruled that out, can't we? 17, 26, and 31. Yeah, so this has to at least be 8, so that's not 7. Alrighty, we're getting somewhere. It's taking a second, but we're getting there. Just having to bounce around a little bit here, but that's no big deal. Now, what is really the possibility of this digit? I wonder if there's anything that could be really ruled out. Now, if it's high, it has to be 6. If it's low, it has to be 4. And we said it can't be a 5. So the only possibilities here are 4 and 6. This digit is low, and it cannot be a 4. Okay, so this is just a 3, which means this is an 8, and this is a 7. Little more obvious stuff. We just look in the right place. It tends to help. So this 8 then forces this to be a 9. We have all of our large digits taken care of. We have to have a 4 over here somewhere because of this 4, looking at that one. We can put this in as a high digit just to maintain our coloring. If we know one of these is 5, we know that all of these are low digits. We could have probably gotten that earlier. Just, again, hadn't looked at it. So this one here has to be a 3 if it's low, because there's nothing else in this row that will work. This 2 here actually just shows that this is a 1. So this is 9 and 8, and that 9 would have gotten that me 2. Again, just needed to look around. This has to be a low digit, so it has to be a 4. And now that's going to place our 5, and we're going to know that this is a high digit, and it cannot be 7, 8, or 9, so it's 6, which means this is 4. So let's color. Good job. Now, this guy is either 1 or 2. This guy is either 2 or 4. This guy can't be 4 anymore because of that. Okay, so let's just put our 4 in. And we know that this guy has to be from 1, 2, well, 2 or 3. Can't be 1. All right. Okay, let's look back at our German whispers because we kind of stepped away from it for a second. This can't be a 4 anymore because this is an 8. So this is our 4. This is not. This can't be a 2, so this can't be an 8, and therefore we can just figure this out. This is a 7 and a 3, and therefore this must be the 1. This must be 8. This 3 here is looking back here so we can get our 2 and our 1 again, so we can clean stuff up. We need a 1 in this row. It can't go here or here, so it must go here, and it must be low. All of our lows are done. This must be a 5, and this must be a high digit. And what can it just has to be a 6 by this row. And we still need one more high digit, so it has to go here. And the 7 looking in here, and we know this can't be a 7. Why did we say this one couldn't be a 7? I don't know if I trust my marking there. We know this is a high digit. Let me get rid of that for a second. I don't want to make a mistake. This can't be 7, so it's either 8 or 9. This can't be 6 or 8, but it could be 7 or 9. Okay. I don't know where that might have just been a misclick on my end, but hopefully I didn't make another one that somehow screwed things up here. We'll find out at the end, won't we? Okay. Now, we know what these digits have to be. They have to be from 3, 7, and 8. So is there anything? Yes, there is 7 and 8 here. This has to be a 3, and it has to be low. These have to be in a 7, 8 pair, and they're on a thermo, so therefore they have to go in consecutive order. And that's going to give us all of this. And again, let's finish our coloring. This is just a given digit of 6. Put that in. And these 2 digits, we're going to get to this 55 in a second, I think. And actually, we can probably finish this guy off. But let's just mark these real quick. It's not going to give me anything, but we know these are 2 and 7. Okay, our 39, I think, may be done now because we got this as a 7. So we've got 18, 25, 30. This must be a 9. So therefore, that's 8, and this is 7. These can't be 1s. And that 4 there is going to finish this off as well. So let's put those in. I'm wondering if we're going to need this 55. It probably will be the very last thing that determines what this digit here must be. Now we know it can't be 1, 2, or 3. It could very well be a 4. It could be a 5 or a 6. Those are our options. And all of those seem to be valid in this instance. And in fact, these have to just be 4, 5, 6 here. And these must be from 1, 3, and 8, and this can't be 1. Okay. What about these digits? We can probably figure something out here, right? So we have to have 2, 6, and 5. This can't be 2 or 5, so it's 6. These must be from 2 and 5. And we don't have anything just yet determining that, so... Now our German whisper is completely done. All of our X's and our Kropki dots are done. So it looks like we're in a combination of basic Sudoku and then using this little killer cage here to figure things out. So let's take a quick look at Sudoku and see if we've got anything that's giving us some real information or not. I'm kind of thinking we're not going to find something here. I mean, I could just write in all of these digits, but I don't think that's going to be too useful. So let's look at this 55 here for a second. Let's see how good my mental math can be. So we've got 10, we've got 18, we've got 27, we've got 34. These have to equal up to 11. This can't ever be an 8. Can this be a 7? No, because if this was a 7, the least we could put onto it would be 5, which gave us 12, and we just needed 11. Let's make sure again that our math was correct. 10, 18, 27, 30, 34. Yes, we need 11, so this can't be 7. So this must be 2 and 7. And I hit that wrong button. So now we need 9 left over. This has to be 3 and 6 if I can get my hand to not spasm there. Therefore, this is 8. This is 1. These are not 6s. And we'll get our coloring back in as well. All right, so that we finished off that one. Now we should probably just be able to take a look at our Sudoku and get this thing figured and done with. What are these two guys? We've got 8 and 9, and this puzzle is broken because this can't be 8 or 9. That is a shame. Did I do my math correctly? 7, 16, 22, 30, 34. I did something completely wrong. Let's go back and try not to mess this up again. Okay, let's try again. I told you that sometimes this brain just does not want to function properly. 18, 27, 30, 34. Yeah, I just cannot subtract digits. This is not 11, this is 21. Idiot. If this is 21, then it has to be the exact opposite of what I was saying. Wow. I swear sometimes, because these have, the highest these can be is 13 plus 8 is 21. So this is just like this. Ooh, the old noggin don't work some days. Let's try this again, but in this instance, let's do it correctly and not make a fool of myself. That one here now does do this. And let's look at these digits that are remaining to see that we haven't messed it up. They are 8 and 9. Now there is no conflict, so this is 8 and this is 9. There we go. And that didn't quite resolve anything there, but this can't be a 7, so let's get rid of that notation. And that 8 actually does give us what we need. So 4 and 8, and we're going to continue to finish our coloring because we've started it. 5 and 4. And this can't be a 5, so let's just remove that for the moment. Now I guess we just need to go in and write in our options and then finish with our Sudoku. This is 2, 3, and 7. That's not 3. That's not 2. That's not 7. These are 5, 6, and 9. So this has to be the 5 because the 6 and the 9 are looking at it. This has to be the 6. This has to be the 9. These are both high digits. This is going to be a low digit, whatever it turns out to be. And what do we have left here? Oop, I was on the wrong thing. Ones are completely done. Twos are not quite there. Threes are not quite there. There's probably one of, yeah, there's 4s we're done with now. 5s are not quite done. How about those 6s? Yes, this has to be 6. Let's not forget to color as we go. The 7s, are they getting there? This must be a 7. Yes, so there we go. 3, 2, 7. Color both of these and this one, and we should be pretty much done with this guy. This has to be 2, which means 5 and 2. These are both low. This one is going to be low. This one's going to be 5. So that is our 5, and this here is our 3, and we have done it, even though we can't do math. So anyway, excellent puzzle. Everything kind of flowed perfectly as it needed to. Just had to see a couple little things to get going, and once that was done, it all worked. So, like I said, apart from a minor little snafu in doing basic math, it turned out quite well. Luckily, I didn't make a snafu much earlier in the round there. But anyway, excellent puzzle. Hope you all enjoyed this. in the comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all next one. Thanks a lot.